It has come to my attention that the subtest results of OFW is 3 days delayed. Whatever is causing this delay must be addressed immediately. Hindi ko malaman ito kung pauwi ba sa probinsya pati hindi. Naunahan lang rin ako. Kasi noong una, pati yung taga-probinsya, hindi pwede makauwi sa kanila because of this lockdown and everything. No amount of lockdown no amount of police power can stop a Filipino citizen from going home, lalo na pauwi. Saan ba tirahin yung tsaka yung swab, bisbilihan ninyo.
The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Several government agencies have reiterated the need to limit venue capacity for all outdoor dining restaurants, cafes, and personal care services. To give us more updates on the latest Kapihan event, we have Greg Gregorio joining us live from Mandaluyong. Greg, good afternoon. Could you tell us who attended today's Kapihan session and what were their specific reminders?
Yes, Charles, good afternoon. During today's Kapihan session of the Department of Health, representatives from the Department of Trade and Industry and Department of Labor and Employment were present. They reiterated to the public the need to comply with certain restrictions under the new recommendations or under the new implementation of the government. This includes the limiting of maximum venue capacity at 30% and maximum venue capacity of 50% for outdoor dining restaurants and cafes, as well as personal care services. And also the need to implement engineering protocols inside workplaces, such as the use of plastic barriers and to ensure the well ventilation in workplace areas. Charles?
Right. For example, there are certain people who are not able to comply with these new restrictions. What penalties will the government impose?
Charles, Dole Asecoqueco said they are doing inspections among establishments, and in the procedure they first give warnings and then ask these establishments for the time to comply, and if they will still willfully violate the rules, then they might face sanctions, including administrative fines. Charles?
Right, Greg, just to clarify, we have this no mealtime gathering rule. Are they also looking to apply this in homes?
Charles, there are no direct statements as to whether this no meal time together is also applicable inside their houses. But what the officials are highlighting is that every time you are having your meal together with someone, you are you're not wearing your mask, so there is the possibility of transmission if and when you or a certain individual is already infected with the virus. Charles?
Right, and they are encouraging people to wear masks at home, especially if you're living with somebody who may be high risk or may have some comorbidities. But then what is the government's reaction to those comparing gyms and churches? And just to clarify, are churches allowed to operate in the NCR Plus bubble?
Charles, according to DTI Undersecretary Ruth Castello, it has been ordered under the recent IATF resolutions that mass gatherings is not allowed in this implementation of the government until April 4. And according to Yusek Castello, hearing masses in churches is considered as mass gatherings, and as such, this is not allowed. And and hearing masses cannot be compared to gyms, because in gyms there are limited activities per person, unlike in churches that are mostly enclosed areas where there are higher possibility of transmission. Charles?
Right. Anything else noteworthy at today's Kapihan?
Charles, earlier today, the Department of Health also said that for the next priority sectors is ongoing as we are targeting to inoculate senior citizens and other frontline workers after we inoculate 1.7 million healthcare workers. And just recently, the palace announced that the operations of gyms and other personal services establishments are also not allowed in 2 weeks. Charles?
Thanks for that, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting from Mandaluyong. Here are other COVID-related stories we're watching today. Gyms in the NCR Plus bubble must remain closed until April 4. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Undersecretary Epimaco Dinsing says gyms and fitness centers are considered non-essential and should not entertain guests during the 2-week bubble. Meanwhile, personal care industries such as salons and barbershops are allowed to remain open, but only up to 50% capacity. The DILG is also encouraging workplaces to return to alternative setups like work from home or remote work for the next 2 weeks. Dinsing says offices should only allow 30 to 50% of their workforce to report to the office. And the DILG also reiterated the DOH's orders for the public to mask up even at home. Dinsing says this order applies especially to those sharing their homes with somebody who regularly goes out for work or for errands. Outside the NCR Plus bubble, one provincial government is also implementing stricter anti-COVID measures to curb rising infections. Aside from putting up checkpoints, so-called house lockdowns are also in effect. To give us more details, we have JC Cosico reporting live from San Fernando in Pampanga. JC, could you give us a snapshot of what's happening over there?
Charles, the Pampanga LGU has reimposed tighter restrictions amid the rise in COVID-19 cases. Governor Dennis Pineda says they were alarmed by the recent spike in cases in the province. From 20 to 30 daily average cases, it increased to 120 last Thursday. According to Pineda, lapses in following health protocols resulted in the case surge. To date, Pampanga's around 9,000 COVID-19 cases. And with cases of family transmission, the provincial government ordered a house lockdown from March 20 to April 5. Households were told to stop receiving guests, and only up to 2 persons were allowed to leave their houses to buy essential goods. Non-residents of Pampanga, including Angeles City, are required to present RT-PCR or antigen tests before entering the province. The validity period for the tests is at least 72 hours. Checkpoints were set up in barangays which will oversee the implementation of these restrictions. A liquor ban and a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew are also in effect in Pampanga. Over 1,000 individuals so far were arrested for violating quarantine protocols in the province. Charles, earlier we went to the boundary of Kalumpit, Bulacan and Apalit, Pampanga, where checkpoints are still ongoing and some vehicles were told to stop for inspections, either where they have transactions or if they are residents of Pampanga. Back to you.
Thanks for that, JC. That was JC Cosico reporting live from Pampanga. After Messenger for Kids, Facebook is now building a version of Instagram specifically for children under 13. But parents may ask, is Instagram for Kids actually a good idea? Naomi Nix discusses this on Bloomberg Technology.
This is something that Facebook has done before. So it launched back in 2017, Facebook Messenger for Kids. And it got a lot of pushback from parents who are concerned about things like privacy and getting kids on social media so early. And so I think Facebook's going to have a lot of questions to answer as it builds out this tool for Instagram.
And this is for kids, I should say 13 and under. I mean, what does Facebook know about making anything a product for anyone in that age group?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of details yet about what Facebook's doing for this Instagram tool. But if it looks anything like what Facebook did for Facebook Messenger for Kids, it's likely going to come with a lot of parental controls. So like in Facebook Messenger, parents have a whole dashboard where they can see who their kid is talking to, what sorts of videos and images they're sending to people, and even kind of control what time of day that their kids are allowed to use the app. So I would expect that Facebook will do we'll launch a similar tool for Instagram with those kinds of parental controls. And we'll see if parents decide that that's something that they want, their kids at such a young age to take up.
How does this help them potentially compete against some of the encroaching rivals like TikTok and Snap?
I think that's what's key here. This is what Facebook's really trying to do, is they're trying to target that generation that's coming up after Generation Z. And so we know that teenagers and young adults, have been flocking to apps like Snapchat. Snap has reported a high penetration rate among those in that demographic. And so this is Facebook's way of competing for the next generation. And the idea being, if you get kids hooked on Facebook services early, that they'll migrate over to the adult versions of those apps.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join Sean Yao later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.